Magandang araw, kamusta po? Sana ay okay po tayo sa kabila ng mga pinagdadaanan ng ating mga pamilya, pamayanan at inang bayan sa ngayon. I'm Atty. Banayat of the Institute of Politics and Governance, and I am your host for this cluster of LeadGovX episodes on Devolution. LeadGovX is a series of conversations on governance, management, and leadership with leading experts, practitioners, and trailblazers. This is a program of the Leadership and Governance Hub, or LeadGovHub, a collaboration project of the De La Salle College of St. Benilde, Friedrich-Ebert Stiftung, and Institute of Politics and Governance. Here is a short video about this amazing program.
Leadership and Governance Learning and Collaboration Hub. We need beacons of good governance at the local level, especially in the present context, with the bleak national political and governance terrain, with the survival fight of our people, especially the poor, because of the pandemic. There is an urgent and compelling need from the local and community levels to step up and shine.
It is a knowledge production platform intended for reform-oriented local leaders together with administrative personnel such as the department heads or heads of office and leaders of civil society organizations with the end goal of empowering and preparing them to become more sensitive and responsive to the needs and complexities of governance.
FES has been a long-time partner of IPG in improving and strengthening local governments. FES stands together with our partners for the core ideas and values of social democracy, freedom, justice, and solidarity.
Through the School of Diplomacy and Governance, Benilde participation on this endeavor is like extending its vision to promote inclusive and innovative education that capacitate and empower local leaders in our society.
LeadGovHub is IPG's way of continuing its 25 years of tradition and commitment to its values and mission through capacity development. It is also inspired and shaped by IPG's institutional values: participatory and gender-responsive governance, sustainable and inclusive development, rule of law, na napakahalaga sa panahon ngayon, and of course, respect for human dignity.
Inclusive and innovative education for Benilde means embracing and giving opportunity to various learners and reform-oriented leaders regardless of their socio-economic background, gender preference, religious belief, and political affiliation.
It's our belief that local politics is the backbone of every state. Local governance work is essential because local governments are the basic front lines not only on providing social services and security, but also in strengthening democracies and transforming politics.
I'm hoping that LeadGovHub as a knowledge production platform will provide opportunity to effect positive changes in our society. I'm also hoping that this will be a sustained platform for learning and collaboration among different government leaders, civil society organizations, and the academy.
We look forward to welcome local governance reform advocates and practitioners to take part in LeadGovHub and join us in promoting good local governance and in strengthening democracy.
Sabi nga nila, libre naman ang mangarap. Pero pag maraming mangangarap at mapagdudugtong-dugtong ang mga pangarap na ito, walang imposible. What we envision is for LeadGovHub to contribute in creating a movement of local officials and active citizens that will transform our country into a nation our children deserve.
Timely and relevant best describe our topic for this cluster of LeadGovX episodes on devolution and the 2018 landmark decision of the Supreme Court, the Mandanas Ruling. "2022 is a politically significant year for our country, not only because of the national and local elections in May, but also because the Mandanas Ruling takes effect next year. Para tulungan tayong maintindihan at suriin ang epekto ng Mandanas Ruling, makikipagkwentuhan po tayo sa dalawang eksperto at lodi sa larangan ng policy and governance. Our first resource person is an economics advisor at the office of Senator Risa Ontiveros and has been supporting Akbayan's work with local governments since its founding. He previously worked as a senior official at the National Anti-Poverty Commission for 5 years and then also at the Housing and Urban Development Coordinating Council with a team of VP Lenny. Our first resource person, Undersecretary Jude Esguerra.
Magandang hapon. Magandang hapon, Atty. Mimi, ang ating moderator.
Hello po, Yusek Jude. Our second resource person is a seasoned public servant having served as an SK chairperson and councilor for Antipolo City. He is also a former board member for the province of Rizal. He is currently a local governance and best practices consultant. Our second resource speaker, Ronald Barcena. Magandang araw po, Bokal Ronald.
Magandang araw po, Atty. Mimi. Magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Kamusta po kayo?
Dahil talagang napapanahon at mainit ang paksa natin ngayon, simulan na natin ang kwentuhang Devolution 2022 kasama ang ating mga eksperto. Let's begin with a fundamental question. What is the Mandanas Ruling? Yusek Jude, please.
Ang Mandanas Ruling ay ruling ng Supreme Court noong 2019. Sinasabi lamang nito na kulang yung dating naibibigay ng National Treasury sa local governments, yung tinatawag na IRA. Dapat daw kasi kasama pati yung collections ng Bureau of Customs at hindi lang yung internal revenues. Dapat pati yung nakokolekta sa borders kasama. Malaki ang epekto nito sa revenues ng local governments. Sa taong 2022 halimbawa, dapat sana ay 774 billion ang matatanggap ng local governments bilang revenue allotment, no? Mula sa 695 billion. Pero dahil nagkaroon itong Mandanas Ruling o Mandanas Garcia Ruling, ang dapat ay 774 billion ay naging 959 billion pesos. So for 2022, mayroong karagdagang 187 billion pesos na dati sana ay mas mababa. Malaki po itong 187 billion pesos. Mga 8 times ito, no, nung bottom-up budgeting, kung naalala natin yun. Ano? Malaki ang implikasyon nito sa local governments. So simple lang yung Mandanas Garcia Ruling. Ang hindi simple, yung adjustments na gagawin ng DBM, DILG at NEDA at DOF, ngayong mas konti ang matitirang pera sa national government. Anong gagawin nila? Nung una, iniisip pa ng Finance Secretary na i-amend ang Local Government Code para kahit nag-rule na ang Supreme Court, halimbawa gagawing 30% na lang ang share ng local governments mula sa national taxes, gagawing 30% mula 40%. No? Pero hindi yun ang nasunod. Ang strategy ngayon ng national government ay sabihin itong ideya na kung nakasulat sa local government code na ang isang serbisyo ay dapat devolved na, hindi na siya pwedeng pondohan ng national government agencies at ng GOCCs by the year 2024. No? Merong executive order na nilabas, Executive Order 138. Meron ding National Budget Call na nilabas noong Enero. At ito nga yung mensahe sa mga national government agencies. Pag magbabudget sa 2022, 2023, 2024, dapat nag-phase out na ang mga ahensya mula doon sa mga serbisyong nakalista sa local government code. Halimbawa, ang school buildings, local government na yan. Ang water systems, local government na yan. Ang inputs, seeds, fertilizers, local government na yan. Coastal resource management, no? Maraming bagay. Local government na. Unless merong Republic Act na nagsasabi otherwise. Kagaya ng sa health services, meron tayong universal healthcare law. No? But otherwise, kung walang Republic Act na nagsasabi otherwise, bawal ng pondohan kapag nakalista sa local government code. So may transition period, 2022 hanggang 2024 na fiscal years. Pero magsisimula ngayong budget season, ngayong pag-uusapan yung 2022 budget. Merong devolution transition plans na bubuuin ang local governments at ang national government agencies at merong devolution committee na mag-oversee itong dalawang devolution transition plans na ito. Led by DBM, DILG, NEDA, DOF, and the Office of the Executive Secretary. Sa regions, meron ding devolution committees. So, sa madaling sabi, dahil doon sa Mandanas Ruling, at dahil sa napiling paraan ng national government kung paano siya mag-adjust dito sa bagong realidad na ito, mas lalaki ngayon ang obligasyon ng local governments para i-deliver ang mga serbisyo. Yung mga proyektong dating pinopondohan ng congressman sa pamamagitan ng budget process, bawal ng pondohan yan by the end of 2024 kung masusunod yung Executive Order 138. Sa ngayon, merong exceptions to the rule. No? Yung 4th, 5th, 6th class municipalities ay maaari pa rin suportahan in the meantime ng national government agencies. Yung tinatawag na GIDA. GIDA ay Geographically Isolated Areas. Pwede pa rin suportahan yan. And then finally, magkakaroon ng pondo, tawag nila Equalization Fund. Pero wala pa yung pondo na yan. Supposedly, susuportahan ng pondo na yan yung mga local governments, halimbawa na masyadong maliit yung local revenues, yung local government na maraming mahihirap na population at kailangang makahabol. No? Pero wala pa yan, yung Equalization Fund. Kailangan ipasa pa yan bilang parte ng national budget ng 2022. Pero nasa proposal yan ng Malacanang.
BM Ronald, kayo naman po.
Well, ang Mandanas Ruling is a recent ruling of the Supreme Court, originally filed by prominent local government personalities in the person of Governor Mandanas of Batangas and Governor Garcia of Bataan. This is an issue being assailed before the highest court regarding sa computation ng internal revenue allotment na supposedly natatanggap ng local government unit pursuant to the Constitution and pursuant to the Local Government Code of 1991. Ang claim ng petitioners, ng mga nasa LGU, mali ang computation na ginagamit ng national government sa pag-compute ng dapat matanggap ng internal revenue allotment for all local government units from barangay, municipality, cities, provinces, and the autonomous region. So, sabi ng local government ay nakabase ito sa local government code, nakabase ito sa national internal revenue taxes, ang basis ng computation ng internal revenue allotment. Pero ang sabi naman ng 1987 Constitution, particularly Section 6, Article 10, ang computation ay should be based on national, all kinds of national taxes collected. So yun yung springboard ng issue. That's why ang claim nila, ang issue ng ating mga nagpetition sa Supreme Court, hindi kompleto yung sangkap sa pag-compute na dapat matanggap ng taxes. Kasi yung lalo na yung mga nakokolekta ng Bureau of Customs, hindi na isasama. So kaya yun yung dinala sa Supreme Court para magkaroon ng pagtatama sa pagko-compute ng dapat matanggap na buwis ng revenue share ng mga lokal na pamahalaan. And I think it was decided in 2018 and parang yung finality ata 2019 if I'm not mistaken. And it is about to be fully implemented next year, beginning next year.
Maraming salamat po sa paglalatag ng Mandanas Ruling 101. Tulad ng nabanggit ng ating mga resource person, itinatama ng Mandanas Ruling ang computation ng revenue allotment para sa local government units. Ang basehan ng computation ay hindi lang ang national internal revenue, kundi dapat lahat ng national taxes collected. Isinasama ang mga collections ng Bureau of Customs sa computation ng revenue allotment for LGUs. As a follow-up to our first question, what will change because of Mandanas? BM Ronald, may we hear from you first?
Well, of course, yung pinakasalient features ng Mandanas Ruling is yung pagtatama nga ng computation. That the national internal revenue taxes are not only those collected taxes by the BIR, but it will also include yung taxes collected sa ng Bureau of Customs, yung mga taxes collected sa utilization, exploitation ng national wealth, to name a few. And aside from that, yung operationalization ng full devolution ng powers granted to or granted in favor of the local government units as enshrined in the 1987 Constitution. Kasi dati, may mga na-devolve nga na functions sa LGU, binigyan ka ng kapangyarihan, pero kung hindi kulang, walang resources. You were given the tools, but you were not given the resources to properly use those tools for development. So what the Mandanas Ruling is all about is really capacitating the LGU, not only by way of providing tools, but providing the appropriate resources to address deliverables or services as provided for by the local government code itself. Yun yung, I think, the salient provisions of the Mandanas Ruling.
Yusek Jude, your insights please.
Busy ngayon, napaka-busy ng mga ahensya dito sa transition, napaka-busy ng mga local governments. Ang mga national government agencies, kailangan din silang magbawas ng personnel doon sa mga divisions nila na dating local governments ang siniservisyohan. Pwedeng mag-early retirement ang mga tao or lumipat sa ibang ahensya o kaya ay lumipat sa mga bagong programa ng ahensya. No? kasama sa Devolution Transition Plan yung pag-reconfigure ng mission, vision, and goals ng national government agencies. At siyempre may organizational implications yan. Assignment din ng national government na bigyan ng assistance ang local governments sa pag-design ng mga programa para masalo nila yung mga bibitawan ng local government, ng national government agencies. Pati kung anong klaseng personnel ang dapat nilang i-hire, mayroong advice na manggagaling sa national government agencies. Sa transition ng local government agencies naman, they have to hire more people para magawa nila yung dating ginagawa ng national government. Kailangan nilang i-define yung sarili nilang transition plan para yung mga dating hindi nila ginagawa, gagawin nila ngayon. So ipapasok nila yan sa isang plano na aprubahan ng sanggunian. But just the same, this is the dilemma, no? Sa ngayon, obligado yung national government agencies na bumitaw. Ang problema, ang local government agents, ang local government units, kahit pa meron silang devolution transition plans, hindi sila obligado na saluhin yung mga services na dating ginagawa ng local governments. Kahit pa nakalista yan sa local government code, kahit pa nasa devolution transition plan. The key indicator would be kung lalagyan ba nila ng budget, kung ilalagay ba nila sa kanilang annual investment plans at work plans, kung tatapatan ba nila ng personnel. We have yet to see kung sasaluhin ng local governments itong inaatang na devolved services sa kanila. Okay, so malaking pagbabago ito. Hindi siya federalism, pero halimbawa, ang congressman, paano na ngayon? Ang congressman, kapag binabag nila yung national budget, typically meron silang services para sa district, barangay, purok, constituencies nila. Kaya lang bawal na ngayon ang national government agencies na pumondo ng mga hyper-local na mga projects. So, hindi natin alam if anong mangyayari. Kapag ba nag-insert ng budgets for hyper-local projects, sasabihin ba ng DA o DPWH, ay, pinagbabawalan po kami ng Executive Order 138 na gawin yan. Sasabihin ng congressman, hindi, mambabatas kami. The budget is a law, we will pass it, and you should follow. So we don't exactly know what will happen. So that's one kind of uncertainty. The earlier uncertainty is whether or not local governments will take on the devolved tasks. The other kind of uncertainty has to do with yung willingness ng local government to take on tasks na pangmatagalan, pangmalawakan, halimbawa baywide, ridge to reef, mula bundok hanggang baybayin. No? Ito kasing mga bagay na ito, gagastusan mo, pero ang beneficiary, baka hindi mo botante. No? Gagastusan mo, pero ang positive effects niya, baka lilitaw lang kapag tapos na ang next elections. No? So it is in the nature of local elections, local politics, that local governments will typically favor projects, programs, and activities that are highly visible, that are very local and transactional, perhaps, as well as projects that generate cash. Mga palengke, bus stops, bus stations, cash that the local government can immediately use to increase its operating funds. So, yan ang third kind of uncertainty. At ang ibig sabihin nito, mayroong mga national priorities na baka hindi mabigyan ng karampatang resources. No? So mayroong gap sa willingness. No? Kasi walang gap sa resources in most instances. Pero baka mayroong gap sa willingness. So there may be other instruments that the national government will need to deploy aside from this very meticulous process of developing the transition plans. Halimbawang ibang instrument, no? Itong Department of Interior and Local Government, they have supervisory powers over local governments. And there is a Seal of Good Local Governance program. Ang ginagawa ng DILG when it comes to supervising LGUs is to look at national laws, national mandates that local governments are supposed to be performing sa health, sa disaster risk reduction, no? Sa forest management, may mga batas. Sa fisheries management, the DILG can set the service standards corresponding to these national laws, of course in collaboration with the national agency, and then extract compliance from the local government units. In the extreme, it's really possible for the local government to suspend or to file cases even against local government units that do not perform their mandates. Outside of these programs, yung mga program na walang batas na katapat, babalik tayo dun sa uncertainty.
Thank you for sharing with us the salient points and effects of the ruling. BM Ronald pointed out that the Mandanas Ruling is really about capacitating the LGU not only by providing tools but providing the appropriate resources to address deliverables and services provided by the local government code. USEC Jude underscored that national government agencies will assist LGUs in taking new roles. We have come to the heart of our discussion. This question is very relevant to both duty bearers and rights holders in our LGUs. In relation to the impact of the Mandanas, what are the challenges and opportunities? Ano pong tingin nyo, Yusek Jude?
A great opportunity is for local governments, no? Dahil nasa kanila na yung pera ngayon, hindi na sila kailangang sumunod sa DA halimbawa kapag gustong mag-deliver ng seedlings, tractor, fingerlings ng isang ahensya na hindi naman pala kailangan sa lokal, no? Pero you have to go along with it para hindi ka maging kaaway ng ahensya. Sabi ng taga-DNR at saka ng taga-DILG na senior officials, baka magkaroon nga ng reversal of roles ngayon eh. So this is an opportunity, no? Ang national government agencies ang lalapit sa local government agencies. They will follow the money because they need to convince the local government units na tulungan silang maabot yung national level outcomes na nandyan sa regional development plans. Halimbawa, marami tayong fisheries areas na depleted na yung fish stocks. Typically, hindi yan priority ng local government units. Wala masyadong ribbon cutting dyan. No? Tsaka matagal bago may benefits na lumitaw dyan. At saka yung benefit, halimbawa kung naggawa ka ng protected area, ang benepisyo yan para sa lahat ng munisipyo na katabi mo, hindi lang para sa iyo. So magkakaroon ng difficulty doon, no? So the DILG can play a role, no? If there are national laws. Now, there is both optimism and pessimism when it comes to yung accountability of local governments to their constituencies. Since nandyan na yung resources, sabi nung iba, mabuti yan kasi hindi na magiging responsive na ang local government units. Sabi naman ng iba, hindi, same as before lang yan, no? Magiging nominal lang yung mga participatory bodies, pero in law, okay, nandyan, pero in fact, the mayor would exercise dictatorial budget powers. Yung mga taong sasali sa participatory bodies, siya rin ang pipili, no? Hindi lahat ng gustong sumali ay makakasali. So that's one view, a pessimistic view. An optimistic view says na, halimbawa, an optimistic view says na dadami yung entry points for accountability, lalo na doon sa mga tipo ng services kung saan ang bayanihan sa grassroots ay kailangan. Ano yan? Ano yung protection ng watershed resources. Hindi naman kayang tapunan mo lang yan ng pera, assignan mo ng technical staff ay mangyayari, no? Kasi yung behavior ng mga tao ay kasama doon sa production ng service na yon, which is forests that are protected or coastal areas that are protected or groundwater that is not over-extracted. Kapag ganyan yung services at kailangan yung suporta ng community, baka may chance yan na salubungin ng local government units yung mga effort at investment na yung tao mismo gusto na nilang gawin. Siguro makakatulong pang ilang halimbawa kung merong blighted area, binabaha, willing mag-ambag-ambag yung community para mabawasan yung baha, pwedeng salubungin yan ng local governments, no? Lalo na kasi pwedeng mag-increase yan ng property values in the future. So, maraming tipo ng services na ganyan kung saan pwedeng obligahin ng mga tao ang local government sa dahilang sila nga nag-i-invest na, bakit naman hindi mag-i-invest ang local government unit. So, yan ang pangalawang mechanism, no? Accountability through co-production and co-financing of local services. So from the ground up, no? Yung unang sinabi natin kanina is DILG supervision. So from the top down, no? Para ma-ensure na sumusunod sa mga batas ang local government units.
Sa inyo naman po, BM Ronald.
Okay. Ang opportunities kasi, yun nga yun na balikan ko yung sinabi ko kanina, may binababang kapangyarihan, may binababang tools, may binababang instructions ang national government. Pero ang laging pinag-uusapan, yung resources to use it. And hindi lang naman Mandanas yung nag-provide ng devolution, but actually the 1980 it's this cardinal rule sa provision ng constitution that ang devolution should be fully implemented. That's the real objective. So kaso nga lang may discrepancy sa paggamit ng tools vis-a-vis sa resources na pinoprovide sa LGU. Now, the opportunity is mas marami yung resources na pwede mong gamitin. So, mas maraming service area that can be addressed through proper programs, projects, and activities being identified by the LGU to address those, particularly the services as mentioned under Section 17 of the Local Government Code, wherein for the longest time, sinabi ng batas, ito yung mga basic services na dapat yung i-provide. And we know for a fact that even if it is provided for by law, we share the delivery of these services vis-a-vis with the national government. Now, the opportunity comes into play kasi nga, mas malaki yung resources, mas malawak na ngayon yung coverage ng service. Particularly those services that are considered as merit services. Yung alam niyo yung principle ng merit services na kailangang i-provide yun ng gobyerno para hindi siya maging for sale. Hindi siya maging, kung for sale man o binabayaran para magamit mo, hindi masyadong maging mahal. Katulad ng edukasyon, katulad ng pangkalusugan, di ba? Pag hindi mo kaya, takbo ka sa public hospital. Pag hindi kaya ng resources mo, you can always acquire education sa public educational system natin. So, hindi naman sinasabi na pag public, mababa ang quality, pero ang opportunity dito is the LGU can concentrate more on the delivery of quality basic services. Dati kasi paramihan lang ng binibigay. Kasi importante maibigay. Walang nag-i-issue sa quality, walang issue sa quality management. But now, the opportunity is the LGU can concentrate on the coverage of the delivery of the services at the same time, ensuring the quality of these services being delivered to its constituency. Now, the growing challenge insofar as the Mandanas Ruling is concerned is yung kahandaan ng mga lokal na pamahalaan. Lalo na yung mga LGU siguro na matagal na umasa sa national government. Makikita mo naman yung dependency nila sa internal revenue allotment. 90%, 95%, di ba? So, challenge yan. Dahil bigla yung mga inaasahan mo na binibigay ng national government, ikaw nang magpo-provide. So, dalawa, yung technical capacity mo to do that and yung fiscal adaptability ng LGU in managing, this huge parang figures of funds na pwede mong i-manage. So, yung kahandaan sa fiscal management capability ng LGU, importante din yan. So, that's the challenge, I think. And siguro naman na-identify na naman ng national government ang mga projects, programs, and activities na nakasaad sa General Appropriations Ordinance, General Appropriation Law na pine-perform din ng mga local government. Pero ang issue dito is hindi naman lahat ng local government pine-perform yung mga responsibilities na yon. So the biggest challenge is really to identify those PPAs and ngayon pa lang parallel with the devolution transition plan, meron na lang sinasagawa ngayon ng mga lokal na pamahalaan para paigtingin ang kanilang kapasidad, yung kanilang tawag dito, yung adaptiveness doon sa bagong policy na darating kasi mas malaki ang matatanggap nilang resources, meaning to say, mas lalawak dapat ang responsibilidad nilang ibibigay. So pangatlo na qualifier para sa mga matagal ng advocate ng good governance, mas marami silang maseservisyohan dito sa epekto ng Mandanas Ruling kasi tamang paggugobyerno yung kanilang ginagawa . Pero sa mga ibang lokal na pamahalaan na matagal na naging passive sa gamit ng kanilang kapangyarihan, and they still believe sa parochial politics as, the basic formula in running their LGUs, mas malaking dagok din sa national government kasi this local government will be given much resources, but at the same time, margin hindi magiging malaki yung epekto kasi dahil ang approach pa rin parochial in setting. So hindi siya long-term, hindi siya sustainable.
Thank you for explaining the opportunities and calling our attention to the challenges that LGUs will face because of Mandanas. Some of the opportunities mentioned were more resources for merit services like health and education, more entry points for accountability, more elbow room for LGUs in programming, and national agencies will be motivated to work with LGUs to reach national agenda. Our resource persons mentioned the readiness of LGUs as a major challenge. This covers technical capacity and fiscal adaptability in managing the bigger funds. For our last question and your closing message, how can stakeholders prepare and gear up for the implementation of Mandanas next year? BM Ronald, please.
Crucial dito yung yung perspective ng development saka planning. Diba? If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Diba? May kasabihan din tayo na planning shapes good decisions. Diba? Sinasabi nga natin yun. So, dito, kung ang mga lokal na pamahalaan sa loob ng mahabang panahon ay ginagampanan yung kanilang mandate sa pagpaplano, malinaw yan eh. Malinaw ang local government when it comes to the responsibility of the LGU in planning. The national government came up even with a policy rationalizing the planning structure. Before, ang planning is a technical issue. Now it was rationalized in the sense that the local government as an agency should be considered as forming part or parcel of that planning institution. So hindi lang CPDO, MPDO ang nagpaplano. Dapat from mayor, sanggunian, down to the last member of the barangay, and even the private sector are considered forming part of the planning unit. So ito ngayon yung issue. Kung ang lokal na pamahalaan ay may tamang pagrespeto sa tamang pagpaplano, hindi siya mahirapan. Ngayon, pagka hindi ka nag-practice ng tamang pagpaplano at ang ginagawa mo lang lagi ay table planning, kung ano yung ibigay sa'yo, katulad ng, I will discuss one document, the annual investment plan. I think if I'm not mistaken, there are 37 plans being prepared by the LGU as provided by the DILG mandate. And one of the crucial document is what we call the annual investment plan. The annual investment plan is a slice of the numerous plans of the LGU. It forms part of the ano yung direction ng LGU for the next year, no? Ano yung mga priority programs, projects, and activities niya. So pag hindi ka nakapag-prioritize, hindi mo malaman kung ano yung may necessity. So ganito rin yun. Nabigyan ka ng maraming resources because of demandanas, pero hindi ka nakapagplano ng tama. Hindi mo ngayon malalaman kung ano yung order of priority mo. If you fail to know the order of your priority, hindi mo alam kung ano ang necessity. So it's basically answering the issue of ano ba ang dapat sagutin ang gusto o sagutin yung pangangailangan ng taong bayan. The annual investment plan provides the answer of what are the needs of the LGU that needs to be addressed by the funding of the LGU. So pag wala kang matinong plano, wala kang matinong budget. The annual budget is but the financial translation of the plan of the LGU. So ngayon, kung yung planning structure mo is you invite stakeholders to participate, like for example, the municipal mayor is mandated to call for the convening of its municipal development council, as well as the barangay, as well as the provincial government. Ang congressman umuupo dyan sa mga BDC, umuupo dyan sa CDC. Kaya nga minsan nagugulat kay magkaiba ang programa ng congressman at mayor. Pero kung umaattend ng congressman sa CDC, strategic yung distribution niya ng project. Kasi sa CDC, sasabihin ni Congressman, Mayor, sige, sagot mo na yan, sagot ko to. Di ba? Kaya pag naggawa ka ng annual investment plan, magugulat ka, masyadong bloated, malaki. Kasi yung sources of fund, pwedeng local, pwedeng national. Yun yung national, yun yung galing kay Congressman. Sa pamamagitan niya, hiningi niya yun sa national government. Di ba? So dito, you just imagine the composition of the CDC or the different development councilors as your primary stakeholder. Nasa loob ng mahabang panahon, every budget season, iniimbitahan niya lahat ni Mayor at ang mga congressman umaattend din. Hindi mahirapan ang LGU sa pagpasok ngayon ng Mandanas. So, the perspective of Mandanas to really prosper is maging consistent lang ang mga local government sa pagsunod dun sa polisiya ng local government in so far as planning and budgeting is concerned. 'Di ba? Sabi nga nila, ang gateway daw sa godliness is obedience, 'di ba? So dito, susundin lang ng lokal na pamahalaan yung istruktura ng pagpaplano. Siguro mas mapoproteksyonan din niya ang lahat ng kanyang stakeholder when it comes to the utilization of these huge resources na magsisimulang ibigay ng national government comes 2022. And sabi ko nga, the annual budget is but the financial translation of the plan of the local government. So kung matino yung plano, matino yung budget. Kung matino yung budget, naproteksyonan mo lahat ang dapat mong bigyan ng programa, proyekto at aktibidades. Then you have recognized clearly who your stakeholders are and by providing them the appropriate programs, projects, and activities in the first place.
Yusek Jude, please share your thoughts.
May warning lang siguro, no? Malaki ang increase ng national tax allocation sa 2022 for local government units, no? There's an additional 187 billion pesos for local government units. But in 2023 and 2024, babalik sa dati yan eh. Dahil ang national tax allocation is based on national revenues from 3 years ago. So, yung 2020 revenues ng gobyerno at 2021 revenues ng gobyerno, bumagsak yan dahil sa pandemic at dahil sa recession. So, local government units need to prepare for feast in 2022, but possibly for famine in 2021 and 2023 and 2024. Kasi mas mababa yung revenue base from 3 years ago for these years. Luckily, lumaki din ang capacity to borrow ng local governments. Dahil itong effect ng Mandanas Ruling ay forever. Hindi lang for the next 3 years ito eh. Forever, nag-shift yung balance of revenue sharing towards local government. So, ilalabas ng Department of Finance yung borrowing capacity estimates in the next few months. Ilalabas din yung national revenue estimate. So, they should guide local governments. Malamang sa hindi, hindi madaling gastusin yung additional 187 billion pesos. So it might make sense for local governments to do longer-term planning, multi-year budgets, kagaya sa national government. I-approve mo ngayon, pero i-approve mo for 2022, pero yung budget na yon can be spent in 2023, 2024. Hindi mo kailangang ubusin sa 2022. But there are many challenges. Meron pang isang problema na hindi ko nabanggit, no? And you don't find this in the implementing rules and regulations of Executive Order 138. This pertains to programs that are multi-agency. Halimbawa, disaster risk reduction. Multi-agency yan, no? Merong DSWD for immediate response, merong NEDA for reconstruction, merong DILG and DOST for preparedness. We are not sure if the Office of Civil Defense, which is the secretariat for the NDRMC, was able to properly appeal to these agencies to ensure that the devolution transition plans at the local and national would include the continuous performance and strengthening of these DRR functions. So there should have been that communication, and we should be seeing that in the transition plans, both at the local and national. That also applies to the fisheries management areas of BIFAR. Kasama dyan ang BIFAR, kasama dyan ang other agencies of DA, kasi yung alternative livelihoods, no? Kasama dyan yung law enforcement agencies na iba-iba yan. Kasama yung DNR, kasama yung DSWD, no? Para may alternative livelihoods kapag pinipigilan o kapag binibigyan ng pahinga ang dagat. Did BIFAR request the other agencies to include their FMA obligations in the transition plans? Apparently not, no? So that's a problem na kailangang habulin in the coming years and in the coming months. Sa housing, halimbawa, the National Housing Authority is a giant agency that owns a lot of land, that has technical people. Devolved ang housing. So we have yet to see how the relationship between the national government, NHA, and the local governments will evolve. Will the NHA hand over the resettlement sites to the local government units? On what terms? Will the local government units be able to take the initiative to develop properties that are presently in the portfolio of the NHA? We don't know. No? Will the local government units be able to take the initiative when it comes to the resettlement of people affected by build projects? It's NHA that typically takes on this task. Will NHA relinquish? Abangan po. Okay. So maraming salamat for listening. This will be a continuing discussion, I'm sure, because there are a lot of unknowns. We don't know if the local governments will take on their assignments. We don't know if the national government agencies will relinquish. Baka kampihan sila ng congressmen and senators. We don't know if the local governments will be able to perform given the large resources that are suddenly with them.
In closing, I encourage every local government leaders who practice good governance, and those who are hindi pa naintindihan yung ibig sabihin ng tamang pamamahala. Now is the time to shape up because the Mandanas Ruling, hindi naman niya intensyon na i-correct yung mali, kundi ibigay lang kung ano yung tama para sa local governments. Siguro mabibigyan ng katarungan yung mga pinaghirapan ng mga iba't ibang personalidad sa lokal na pamamahala para dalhin ang bagay na ito sa pinakamataas na korte. Kung hindi gagampanan ng lokal na pamahala ng kanyang katungkulan. para mabigyang buhay yung nais mangyari ng Mandanas Doctrine. The very principle of the Mandanas Doctrine is really full devolution. So, siguro it's high time that we reconnect our thoughts about the basic requirements of governance, which always begins with planning. Planning is not only a function of the LGU, but it's also a tool for measuring, the competence of the LGU. And good planning shapes good decision. So, kung matino yung pagpaplano ninyo, ang pag-institutionalize ng Mandanas Ruling sa inyong pamamahala ay sigurong mas maayos din. Dahil pag maayos ang pagpaplano, maayos din yung budget o alokasyon ng pondo sa bawat programa, proyekto at aktibidades din yung gagawin. So I salute all LGUs, lalo na ngayon sa panahon ng pandemya. Mas malaking kaparaanan ito para mas magampanan nating lahat ang ating mga katungkulan sa ating mga nasasakupan. Hindi na lang ngayon binigyan tayo ng kapangyarihan, pero binigyan na tayo ng nasyonal na pamahalaan ng mas malaking resources para magampanan ng katungkulan na to. At gampanan po sana natin ito ng tama. May kasabihan nga, good governance begins with good people and ends with bad people. So, I think you can capture in that line kung ano talaga yung gusto ng mangyari and maiparating natin na dapat mangyari para mabigyan ng katarungan ang Mandanas Ruling. Maraming salamat po ulit sa paanyaya. Isa pong malaking pribileyo ang maimbitan po sa programang ito. Sa IPG, kay Atty. Mimi, sa lahat po ng bumubuo ng pamayanang ito, maraming salamat po. At sa lahat ng mga lokal na pamahalaan ng ating bansa, lahat ng mga namumuno, at lahat po ng mga nakikinig at nakikisa sa programang ito, maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat. Magandang araw po.
Going into Devolution 2022, USEC Jude posed some very important questions. One of the most essential questions is how will national projects be effectively devolved? BM Ronald reminds us that planning is key for successful good governance during this devolution. Thank you very much to our resource persons, USEC Jude Esguerra and BM Ronald Barcena. Thank you for sharing your time and valuable insights. Please watch out for the next episodes of Devolution 2022, the Mandanas Ruling Impact. Sa ngalan po ng LeadGovHub, maraming salamat sa inyong lahat at ingat po lagi. Hanggang sa susunod na LeadGovX.